What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some routes that we feel all wide receivers need to learn how to run. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it can teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver in this offseason, you would like a daily gym workout schedule that you can follow with the exact gym exercises that wide receivers can do to improve their on-field performance. Check out that very first link in the description below for our 16-week wide receiver gym workout plan. It's a 4-month daily schedule with daily gym exercise. Like we said, it's broken down with sets, reps, and examples of each exercise. So check out that very first link below. If you're interested, fellas, let's get started with this video. So now, first route that we're going to be discussing here that we feel all wide receivers are going to need to know how to run at some point is going to be a whip route versus inside shade catch technique. So you see how this DB's off. He's on the goal line. It's about 5 yards away, and we have to run a whip route. This is a very, very tough scenario because he's pretty much sitting exactly where we want to run the route and where we want to sell the route. So how would you go about doing this? So let's play this full speed. So what this wide receiver decides to do is stem him to the inside. This is probably the only time I am okay with you stemming on a whip route. If this was inside shade press, it would be a different scenario, and we're going to talk about that. But when he's off, you got to understand why he is playing this certain way. He's on the goal line, right? Heels are on the goal line. So we know he's not going to do what? Probably not going to backpedal. He's going to try to do whatever possible to force us to the sideline, force us and cut down the space that we have on this field to operate. We want to threaten him, obviously, with the slant, get him to crash down on the slant, but I can't use something like a diamond release, a slide release, because that's just simply not going to work. So if I try to just take 3 hard steps to the outside right now, he might move, but there's too big of a gap between the two of us. So normally if it was like press coverage and this DB was walk down inside shade, I would say, okay, you're going to want to take 3 hard steps to the outside, get him to flip, and then we slip underneath to run a slant, get him to drive on it, and then we whip back out. But because of the coverage look that he has, the route tends to change. So what this wide receiver does is he stems him to the inside. He squares him up. He attacks his leverage. Now, whenever this DB is on the goal line, you have to understand that if he's disciplined, if he's even the slightest bit good, he is not going to backpedal. So when you square him up, you have to make sure that you keep range between the two of you. So what is range? Range is pretty much keeping a yard of space, a yard of distance, so he does not get hands and disrupt the timing. If you square him up and you think that he's going to start to backpedal, and in the open field, he might. He's probably going to keep his leverage and weave to the inside too when you square him up. That's why I don't necessarily maybe like this all that much in open space. But on the goal line, he is going to sit right there. He will not backpedal because that's just an E. All you got to do is turn around and then it's a touchdown. He is going to sit right on that. So now when we break to the slant and we were trying to sell the slant, we need to make sure that we have some speed. Now, this wide receiver is running like a one-step whip. Now, I've seen this ran before. I've seen this in NFL offenses, especially college offenses, but obviously it's not the most common thing. Usually when you run a whip, you're taking 3 hard steps to the slant. And that's how I want you guys to think of it. I don't want you guys to think that when I have inside shade catch technique, I have to only take a 1-step slant. Not the case. You could take a 3-step slant to sell the whip. It does not matter. It matters what play is called in your playbook. But the mechanics of this 1-step slant is what can work for everybody. When he goes to the inside, his hips and his shoulders are fully committed. He is exploding to the slant. Everything about this looks like a slant. He's committed. He has speed. He's exploding. That's what it takes to sell a double move. Whether you're running just a regular whip where this DB is off coverage and you have to break for 3 steps and then whip it back out, you need to have speed, you need to commit your body, and you need to keep full stride if we want any chance at that DB driving. So that's what he does. He just does it in 1 step, and that is why this thing works. That's why he gets that DB to jump. So great route running football IQ. If you're a wide receiver and you're maybe not on the bigger side of things, the fastest side of things, your route running IQ is what can separate you. If you know how to run routes, especially in today's air raid offense system, a lot more spread offense systems where they're spreading the ball around, you will be able to get a lot of separation if you know how to get open. And it's by understanding what the DB is trying to do, why he is playing a certain way, and what I can do to work against that specific coverage. Let's play this thing again full speed. Great job stemming to the inside, selling that slant, and then getting that DB to bite. Okay, so now second example here that I want to talk about that all wide receivers should be able to do is run an out route versus outside shade press. Okay, so this is something that so many guys do not know how to do. They get so freaked out by this look. We get a million questions about this look, but it's actually pretty easy if you know what to do at the top of the route. So we're going to play this full speed. So this is Chris Olave working this 10-yard out with an inside release, right? So when you have an inside release on an out route, the whole reason you do it is to maintain spacing with your quarterback on the play. So if I come up to the line and I have a DB who's lined up outside shade in press, and I'm going to talk about a release you guys can use for this in a second here from a different example. But when we have outside shade press like this, I cannot just force the outside release, because when a DB, you have to understand whatever leverage he is keeping pre-snap, in this case it's outside, he is trying to protect that leverage. What I mean by that is he is not going to allow you to take an outside release freely. If you try to give him like a hard jab inside and then take the outside release, this DB is going to be patient. He is going to stay disciplined to his leverage, especially in the NFL, especially at the NFL level. Maybe in high school you get some scrub DBs, but I'm not trying to get you ready for a scrub DB. I'm trying to get you ready for a DB who knows what he's doing. So if you force the outside release, he's going to get hands. He's going to force you to the sideline because he is taught, do not give up the outside. So he's going to do whatever possible to not give it up. Now, even if you do get off of press, which is unlikely if you force it, you're going to be maybe right next to the sideline with about a yard to run an out route. You can't just change the route. You can't just convert it to a fade unless that's something you and your quarterback have communicated on. So he's not going to give you the ball because there is no space, and that will be a pick six if the QB throws it. So we want to take what he gives us. If he's giving us the inside, let's take the inside. Your separation on all routes happens at the top of the route. It does not happen off the line because DBs work on one thing all the time. They work on recovery speed. They work on being able to open up their hips and recover to get to the stem, to get hands on us. So your separation doesn't come off the press release unless it's like a quick route. If it's a route that's further than 5 yards, your separation comes at the top of the route. So we need to have a plan for that. So when I take an inside release versus outside shade press and I have to run an outside breaking route, mindset-wise, I should be thinking, okay, I would like to restack him. That's my main goal. I want him to be trailing my back hip so I could give maybe a head and shoulder fake inside, whatever. Sometimes a DB might play it very well. Sometimes we not be able to restack. So I need to have a plan for that. And that's using something we call either a slip under or a throw by. So if this DB's outside shade, I got to run this out. I just put the brakes on. I drop my butt down. I'm dropping my hips. My chin's going to my knee. I'm getting to that low explosive position so I could slip under him and make a sharp cut. Meanwhile, I got space for the QB to lead me. I got some separation, and I'm on time with the play. Fellas, a DB is going to jam you, so he screws up timing with your quarterback. But if you can avoid the jam, take what the DB gives us, that can get us a lot of space, maintain timing, and we can 100% get open if we know how to do it correctly. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, well, coach, what if I try to do this and I snap down and then he just sits and I end up running into him? That's on us. That's our fault if the DB does that because I didn't sell the route enough. When I'm going up into this break, on just like any other route too, fellas, you got to be selling what? I got to be selling fade. We have to make this DB think that we are running deep. So I need to make sure I'm running fast. I need to make sure I'm maintaining my stride. My pad level is good. I don't change any of those things before I drop into the break. Because what a lot of wide receivers will do is they'll be running up and they'll raise their chest up and then they snap down. DB indicator. I call that an indicator. DB will just be able to open up and make a play. A lot of guys, what they'll do, because it's easier, is they will change speeds. They'll be running super hard, and then they'll slow down, then break. When you slow down, DB slows down. And then a lot of guys, even worse, this is my least favorite one. Right before the break, they will start to shorten their stride and then break down. Again, all three of those things are indicators, and those three things DB is looking for. He's looking for a change in speed, and he's looking for a change in your body language. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. So now, a lot of you might be thinking, well, why would a DB ever be playing outside shade? Like we said, to protect the outside, but he also probably has something to the inside called safety help. So he's probably trying to force you to that safety help. So what Olave did there that I may not necessarily teach to my wide receivers is he just kind of like took off and ran. You know what I mean? Like he had outside shade press. He just kind of like took off to the inside and ran. He didn't really give a release. So sometimes when guys just take off and run to the inside on that 10-yard out versus outside shade press, this DB will get hands and force you inside to his help, which, maybe isn't the biggest deal on an out route. But if you're running a route like a post route or you're running a route like, like maybe a square cut dig, that's a big deal because you just closed the window down that the quarterback has. So we need to give him some kind of move to the outside. And that is why using something called a wide step release on this is a great release to use. So let's play this full speed. So this wide receiver decides to go the wide step release, threaten the DB's leverage, and then same idea, same type of throw by slip under concept that we talked about. So off the line, what is a wide step? This wide receiver, he's got his right foot up. So it's the foot right foot's closest to the QB. It would be the foot that is back, stepping wide to the outside, threatening the DB with some kind of speed release. So that can get that DB to stay honest. That can get him to keep his leverage to move off the platform, which gives you a freer release to the inside. So you see what he does here. He takes that little kick step behind with his back foot. He steps wide. He actually steps outside the DB's frame. His hips and his shoulders are selling the movement. And you see, all we need is a little bit of a step with this DB. All we need is for him to show his hand to the outside and move, because that gives me a free release to the inside. And again, my main goal should be to what? Restack. If I can't, I slip under or throw by. So fellas, again, you just have to understand how to attack different leverage looks. Like we were saying, it's about knowing why the DB is playing a certain way, what his responsibilities are in that coverage, and what we can do to beat that specific look. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job of this wide receiver showcasing a wide step release, getting that DB to move, and then breaking and slipping under on that 10-yard out. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like a 16-week wide receiver gym workout schedule that you can follow on a day-to-day basis, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.